Hello, hello. So as promised, we have another pregnancy appropriate workout today. You do not have to be pregnant in order to participate in this. Hopefully there is something that many people will get from this as well. So we have a little set of hand weights, optional, and a good sturdy chair, ideally one without wheels for obvious reasons. So we're going to start sitting onto your chair. I'm holding on to my weights purely so I don't have to get up and down from the floor to pick them up. Our feet are going to be hips distance apart, and we still want to make sure that we've got that nice alignment from the centers of your hips to the centers of your knees to the centers of your ankles. And to start with, we're just going to go for a little tip of your pelvis from side to side. So we just want to feel one sit bone getting a little heavier into your chair, followed by the other. So we want to think as much as we can of this movement just happening by your pelvis doing that little pendulum swing from side to side. See if we can keep your hips in that nice even plane towards the front rather than allowing them to sort of slice forward and back. And then just coming to pause into the center. So this time we're going to think about your left thigh bone going for a little bit of a glide forward. So that hip is going to pull out of your socket, not actually, but you know, you'll think in that direction and then come back in. And then we're going to do that same thing on your opposite side. So it's like your thigh bones are being pulled away from you by springs, and that's just going to invite a little bit of rotation into your pelvis. And by a little bit, I mean a little bit. It's also just going to gently invite a little bit of work for those obliques without having to get too crazy ab orientated on it. As you're going for that little glide back, see if you can keep that sit bone weighted and the front of that hip quite quiet. So we're just allowing those oblique muscles to bring us into that little side to side glide. And then coming to pause into the center. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're just going to go for a little scoop to tuck your pelvis under. Think of lengthening up through those vertebrae as we come into a little curl back. And then inhale, lengthen, roll just off those sit bones to come into a little extension. So we're just going to go for that little rock forward and back. Thinking of rolling in that nice balanced way across those sit bones. Like a little gentle sort of rocking horse action here. A very slow motion rocking horse. Let's just go once more in each direction. And since we're holding our weights, you can just allow your shoulders to drop down. Give the weight of your shoulders down to those weights. And then come to pause into the center. So from here, we're just going to go for a little pedal through your feet. So now we're just thinking about a gentle little tip of the ball joint of your hip to roll forward and back. So your option is to continue just with these little treads through your feet, or if this is feeling stable enough, we're going to come back down with both heels on the floor and just start to go for a little march. Check that we're keeping your rib cage just nice and heavy as we go for these little folds of your thigh bones. So we'll roll that sit bone slightly back, and then we come forward on that sit bone and push into that heel to get that little lift off of that leg. From here, we're going to add a little arm movement. So as we lift one thigh bone, we reach up, and then we inhale to pass through the center. So we're going for a big, long stride. As that leg folds in, see if we can stay over your sit bones rather than tucking back. We're just going to do one more of these on each side and then come to pause in the center. We're going to turn those palms to face forward, inhale into a little reach back, and then exhale into a little scoop, like we're doing a couple of underarm bowls here. Inhaling to reach back and then exhaling to scoop. We're going to do two more of these movements just with your arms. So we're inviting a little stretch across your chest and then drawing down from under your armpits to lift. And then we're going to start to make this movement a little bit more about your spine. So as we reach back, we're going to come into a slight extension. And then as we reach forward, we're going to go for a little tuck of your hips. Inhale, arms come back, little lift forward of your chest, and then exhale, scoop to tuck under. So we're thinking of a little sort of ripple through your spine, keeping this just within the range of motion that feels good for your body today. If you prefer to just stay a little more stable and just move your arms, go ahead and just move your arms. This is your workout. So we're doing one more of these, and then just coming to pause over your sit bones. We're going to come into a little alternate bicep curl. So think about resting your elbows onto a little ledge in front of you. And then from here, as we extend your left arm, I'm mirroring you, we're going to add a little lift of your right leg. So we're doing 8 of these, just committing that left heel into the floor. So we're going to exhale as we fold and lift. Your option to modify is just to lift a heel rather than that whole foot. Lower those arms for a moment, give those shoulders a little stir. And then we're going to come to do that same thing. Let's stay here on your other side. I was going to get fancy, but not yet. So we're going that way. Confuse myself for a moment. Check in for yourself. Are my sit bones staying in that exact same spot? We are going to be rolling over the top of it slightly as you lift, but we don't want to be twisting your pelvis. We're doing 3 more of these. Just 2 more. And then last one. Lower those arms for a moment. I'm actually just going to move back a sniff in the hope that you'll be able to see my feet. There are my feet, almost. So from here, we're going to come into a little bit of external rotation. So we want your knees to be about shoulders distance apart, and then down directly over your ankles and then your toes. Ankles and toes, ankles and toes. So we're going to bring our arms into our little hug a tree position here. So we're just going to start with a few little tree hugs, straightening myself up. So we'll inhale, open, and then exhale to hug. Widening across your chest. We're practicing hugging for when we're allowed to again outside of our bubble. I wonder if everyone is just going to walk around hugging everyone they see. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, actually, maybe it would be a little creepy. You tell me. Last one, and then from here we're just going to do one arm at a time, inviting a little bit more stability into your upper body. Check in that we still have those 2 sit bones planting down into the floor. And then from here we're going to think of a little pass from side to side. So if you are of the ballet persuasion, it's a little shift from third to third. And our challenge is just to stay stable through your center as you move your arms, to keep our rib cage just chilling out. Nothing extra demanded there. We're going to do 1 more of those on each side. I'm straightening myself up again. And then lower those arms. Give everything a little moment. We're going to come back into that same position, opening one arm, and then we're going to fold to lift that opposite leg. As we lower, we switch. So we switch, and we switch like a little football kick here. 4 more. And 3. And 2. Last one. Lower that leg. We're going to bring your feet into this very elegant stance. So your heels are going to be a little wider than your shoulders. Let your sit bones be nice and wide underneath you here. So we're going to think of a little push into your heels. As you push into your heels, allow your tail to curl under slightly, and then just release that pressure and let your tail curl forward. So we're just going to do a few of these, finding that little bit of leverage into your heels. So your hip joints are going to open slightly in the front as you roll back, and then they will close as you come back into neutral. So pushing down to find that little scoop, and then rolling back over those sit bones. Let's just do that twice more. Last one. And then from here, we're going to add a little reach forward of your arms and then lower down. If it feels alright in your shoulders, you can bring your arms up a little higher. A little variation of our horseback, if you will. A little roll back and then coming forward. Or a contraction a la Martha Graham, except she probably didn't do it sitting in a chair. 3 more here. And little scoop to tuck. And then last one. Reach those arms overhead, bring those weights together. We're going to toe heel those feet under your hips and just come into a little forward hinge. From here we shave the back of your head and then we push away. We lower and we stretch. Folding down and then reaching away. A little bit of work for those triceps. We go 4 more here. And 3. Pushing out. 2 more. Last one, lengthen those arms all the way up, and then from there we're going to go for a little hinge forward. I'm too close to my couch, hold that thought, to bring those arms just behind you, and then we're going to circle back up and overhead. So we roll into a little hinge, and then turn your palms to come back up. So pivoting your hands as you come past your shoulders, on the way up and on the way down. 3 more here. We're doing 2 more of these. On our last one, we're going to stay in that little forward pitch, and then we lift and we lower. Lift and lower. If this is bothering your lower back with the weight of your bum, just come up a little higher. Choose the range that's going to work for you today. And then we're going to hold those arms and we have a little bend and a little extend. Check the tops of your shoulders, make sure that they haven't taken charge of your life. We go 4 more here. Pushing those heels into the floor to keep the backs of the legs active. And then we're going to hold those arms behind you and we just have a little circle for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, reverse, circling up for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, come back with care. Just place your weights down. If you're able to, just drop them on the floor. If you have carpet, do so. If you have a wooden floor, don't frighten your family. You just leave them on your legs. Just give your shoulders a little bit of a stir. And then from here, we're just going to do a little turn of your head from side to side. So you're drawing a little stripe with your nose. You can let your eyes go the opposite way to your nose if that feels okay. Have a little push of the tip of your tongue into your alveolar ridge, which is to say just behind your front teeth. And that just helps us to encourage your jaw to chillax. And then pausing in the center, we're just going to go for a little nod up and down. Letting your eyes go the opposite way to your head. So looking down your nose, looking over your glasses. Think of lengthening the back of your neck as you nod down rather than making a double chin. And then just coming into the center. And we're just going to draw some little side-lying figures of 8 with the tip of your nose. Or Stevie Wonders, as my friend Kat calls them. And then go back the other way. Easing through those sides of your neck. And then to come up out of your chair, use your hands, push your heels into the floor. We're going to find that forward hinge and then come up in one glorious piece. Alright, so I'm just going to shift my chair just so that you can see me. Bear with me a moment, team. And we're going to come and do a little bit of standing lower body work today. So some of this is borrowed from bar. So we're going to bring your feet, got my baggy pants on, they're going to be hips distance apart here. and we're just going to face in towards your chair for a little bit of balance and support. So you may find that you don't need to hold on to your chair. If that's you, fine, you can just hug your tree, bring your hands to your hips, do what feels good for you. So we're just going to go for a few little bends and straightens of our knees. So as we're doing this, I just want you to think about your knees tracking over those second and third toes. And as you straighten your legs, your kneecaps are going to start to draw up rather than locking back. And that just allows us to engage the fronts of the legs and allows us to keep that lower back nice and chilled out, not bringing any additional pressure into there. So we're going to come down into that little bend or little plie if you're of the dance persuasion. Draw your left sit bone to your midline and hover that opposite leg. Bring that foot down and then come to center. So we bend, shift and lift, lower and straighten. Bend, shift and lift, lower, stand on it. Bend, sit bone hugs in, hover that leg, stand on it and come back. Remember, you can hold your chair. Sorry, I forgot, I checked my hips. You can also try doing this with your back against a wall. If you'd like to check that you're maintaining as close to a neutral spine as you can manage. Just gives us a nice little bit of proprioceptive feedback. This is going to be our last one of these. From here, we're going to transfer your weight onto one leg. Either leg will do. So we're going to continue to face towards your chair so that you've got a really solid balance or support. You can find a little push of your leg into your foot into your leg, and we just go for a little single knee bend. If you're colliding with your chair, you could try bringing those knees together. So as you bend your knee, we're going to think of it shining over your second and third toes. And we're going to find a little wrap of your sit bone into your center line as you straighten that leg. Just that little fold down. We're just doing 2 more of these. And then we're just going to lengthen that leg, draw that kneecap up, and just see if you can close your eyes and stay on balance. If you're struggling with your balance, you can just keep your hands very near your chair. If things are feeling fine and dandy, you can float your arms away and just see how you may need to adjust to stay onto that leg. Ooh. And then when you're ready, lowering that leg, we'll fold up on that opposite side and we just go for those little bends and straightens. If you can see yourself side on, think about a little draw of your chin in towards your throat. So we're keeping that nice lengthening through the back of your neck. Cue I really like that I learnt from a beautiful Italian woman, whereas it's like you've got helium balloons attached to your ears. It sounded much nicer when she said it. 3 more. Anna Maria Vitali is her name. She does amazing work with fascia. On this next one, we draw that supporting leg up to straight. Close your eyes, good night, and see how our balance is feeling on this side. Oh, mine's a little bit interesting. So try and use this as a guide. Try not to let it frustrate you. I know it can be easier said than done. And then when you're ready, lowering that foot. Alrighty. So from here, let's bring your back to the back of your chair. So we're going to get a little bit of that nice feedback through the back of your hips. So from here, we're just going to slide one foot forward. If you're a dance person, it's like you're doing a little tendu. So we're going to push that foot along the floor and then pull back in towards you. So we want to think of having really nice, just moving back in the hope that you might be able to see my feet. That's better. Floor pressure. So we're thinking of activating through the back of the leg. Having your pelvis against the chair is just going to give you a little bit of feedback about whether you're moving your pelvis in order to move your leg. We're just going to do 1 more here. and then transfer your weight to that opposite side. Feel how you need to shift over that leg to stay square. If you can see yourself in your TV screen or maybe in a window, check that you've kept that same length between your ribs and your hips. So we're just going to do 4 more of these little slides or tendus, massaging the floor to wake up our feet. We're doing 2 more there, and then last one. From here we are going to come into a little bit of turn out. So when I say a little bit, we don't want to be any wider than your shoulders, or about sort of a 90-degree wedge of your feet. We're not trying for flat Russian ballerina turn out, unless you are of the ballerina persuasion and that is feeling good in your hips. Little caveat there. So from here, we're going to push your toes into the floor to slide that leg to the side, and then draw that leg back in. So we're just getting a little bit of a wake up for those adductor muscles, those inner thigh muscles, without adding any load. So we're drawing that in, foot draws along the floor, sliding in nice and carefully. Just 2 more there. Last one. And then we transfer to your other side, lengthening up, note to self, and then sliding out and in. The more you can push through the floor, the more of that work we're going to invite into the backs of our legs. We're going to do 2 more of these. And then last one. Alright, so from here we're going to bring your chair side on once again. Have a little bit of a push into that chair. We're going to bring those feet into your turned out position once more. And then we're going to lead the way back with your big toe. And then come back in. So your big toe leads the way back. Your pelvis will tip forward just slightly as you extend your leg. I want you to think of zipping up beneath your bump for as long as you can before we have to let that go, just slightly. We're just doing 3 more of those. Thinking about those toe knuckles pressing into the floor on the way out and on the way in. And then we're doing that on your second side, brushing back and then reconnecting. And these nice slow tendus, when done super mindfully, are actually a really great way to find how your legs connect into your abs, to find strength in our hips, and to really check in with our alignment. 4 more of these. So when you're extending your leg behind you, we want to think of the headlights of your hips continuing to shine straight forward. We're just going to do 2 more. And then last one. So depending on how sturdy or solid your chair is, we may want to put something on there to make that a little bit more stable. From here, we're going to hold onto your chair, bend your knees, have your feet as wide as you feel you need, and just come into a nice supported squat. And this is a good place for us to be in before we transition down to the floor. So you can either have your arms long out in front of you, maybe hold the sides of your chair. If you feel comfortable, you can bring those hands to the floor. And you can even just try going for a little bit of a rock. And then when you're ready, just bringing yourselves around the corner, and we'll get ready to head down to the floor for our next section.